Alright guys, that's Scrappy again, so I hope you're doing well and enjoying your day. So far the early tournaments of Black Ops 7 continue to get underway, but major talking points last night as to what weapons or maybe other things might well get banned in the very near future by the Gentleman's Agreement Committee here of the Call of Duty players in the CDL. The M15 has been under fire and scrutiny over the last few days, certainly by Scrap, but what about the sniper rifles in this game? Rumour has it they might already be gone without even so much as a debate. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments, hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. Plenty to get into today. Wanted to start with a couple of roster stuff. I don't think next thread have confirmed it yet. I hinted at it the other day. But yeah, Doug is back, right? So these are the top 10 seeds for next season. Doug is playing with DiamondCon, Standy and Johnny. Pretty sure that's going to be the team of four over there on next thread. These are the North American top rosters. Of course, you've got that Bush Gaming team with TJ, Capsule, Prolude and Sparks, among other very notable names. I think Illy won some sort of tournament yesterday with Gunsy and Asim, so they're getting ready for the upcoming season. Team 10 is certainly one of the rosters of all time. Speaking of rosters, Surge, I mean, a couple of days ago they said they were going to confirm their roster. Then they delayed it and said, no, it's actually going to come out the next day because, I don't know, they were just memeing the process or whatever. But then they didn't drop it anyway. So, you know, what's the point at this point? I guess we should just talk about what it's going to be. It's going to be Legends, Gwyn, Lunas and Abe. That's the current rumour anyway. I imagine that's not necessarily going to change. There was also a bit of drama on the Black Ops 7 streamers, as it were. So Cloakzy came out and said that the streamers are basically under contract not to play any other game than Black Ops 7 on stream. Now, whether this is true or not is a bit of a question. Whether it really matters is also another question, right? Like, we know that the streamers are going to get paid to play certain games at a time. It is a business, as Nadeshot describes, if you look at it that way. And Nade says, look, I can play other games, by the way. It's literally not even accurate. This guy's an idiot. So, you know, yeah, maybe there is, especially around like the beta and stuff with Battlefield in play, there's always a significant amount of marketing budget that goes into some of the streamers. But basically, Nadeshot says that ain't even true. He goes on to say a couple of things. I agreed to do sponsored streams on Black Ops 7 2 months ago before the beta even went live. I can play other games when those sponsored hours for each day are done. Streamers have long been doing sponsored ads on game over a decade. I've been playing COD for almost 2 decades. Can't believe people don't understand that I was going to play it when it released anyway. So if you're going to pay me to do it as well, then why not? On top of that, streaming's a business for me. I'm not going to shy away from admitting it. So anyway, that was a bit of drama. We know there's been a bit of drama over the last couple of months when it comes to streaming, ad advertisements, ad Nadeshot, Scump, Hex, whatever. That's understandably dialed down over the last few days with the release of BO7. Scrappy was even in the replies here giving his thoughts. We'll get back to Scrap in a second. Couple of other things I wanted to mention specifically on Raid. Look, is it going to be the best map in this game again? Probably. We'll talk a bit more about the maps later on today. I thought it was interesting though, Shotzzy was kind of describing how to use the wall bouncing. He's not really talking about any sort of rocket science here, but basically he's saying that if you want to stay close to the wall, you've got to hold your left stick forwards. But I think we probably figured that out already. I think the reason why I wanted to share this was just, it's an interesting spot. You actually used to be able to do a bit of jump spotting over here back in the day, because there's that little like AC generator thing to the left of him. And you could, yeah, this thing, even back in Black Ops 2, you could jump on that and you could jump over, and if you had a dual band scope, a thermal scope on your sniper, you could see through and get a little bit of information. But it wasn't massively relevant really, because the only time this was useful, it's not a useful jump spot in Search and Destroy, very rarely. In a hardpoint over at the third hill, the garage hill, this is a useful jump spot. And in this game, it's absolutely doable, right? You can simply get information by doing this, get a couple of shots in, make it more challenging for the team to approach. But obviously, the other team trying to make this happen also have different options in terms of the way that they attack some of those gunfights. Getting across the cross is easier now with the wall bouncing and all of this. So just thought it was interesting to note. There are another number of spots on Raid that have been discovered, so I thought I'd share a couple of these. We saw S and Dylan came up with a few yesterday, but again, you can just get on top of the door frame here. There's going to continue to be debate on which of these spots should be a thing or not. I mean, this one is actually pretty outrageous here in mid. It's very interesting. I know that Clayster will have his thoughts on this because, I mean, he is pixel walking here, right? Like, he's on a pixel But look at his character. Look how his character, like, actually mantles onto it. Like, he puts his arms out as if he's mantling up. So, yeah, we're back in Black Ops 3 when it comes to unintended line of sights. You may argue none of these are fair or reasonable or intended. But if the teams use them in the CDL, what's the ruling gonna be, right? I think that's a good question. There's a number of other options here as well. Raid does look spectacular, not gonna lie. And this is just a couple of ideas for nade spot angles. This was basically the exact same nade spot that it used to be way back in Black Ops 2, actually, with pretty much the same lineup. So that was kind of cool. These are the 12 teams in the league for next season. Just another quick note that it's still Los Angeles Guerrillas mates for now. Even EWC are talking about it. Really hope that doesn't stay the same after the Gentlemates general meeting or whatever they're doing next weekend. But a couple of things to get into. We did see some scrims underway. And one other notable clip was from Kenny, we'll see here in a second. This was Xnid. He found himself in a nice little gunfight here against Scrap. Here comes Scrap off the top ropes. Perfect opportunity for Xnid to get a free kill. And he gets, unfortunately, absolutely slabs. But, you know, Xnid always got a smile on his face. The Falcons have been scrimming early doors. He had that 1v1 against Purj we saw yesterday that was pretty entertaining. And Falcons and Thieves have been scrimming a fair bit so far. Hopefully the streamed practice stays on for as long as it possibly can. There was also this clip coming out of Kenny. So here we are on Den. There's some talk about Den. We'll discuss it later on today, how viable it could be from a competitive perspective. But here's Kenny with a nice little 4-piece here on this map up against the Falcons. Is Kenny back, right? Is this going to be his year? Is it going to be a better game for him than Black Ops 6 was? Because we know that last year was, at times, a bit of a challenge for him. The OpTic stint wasn't great. Obviously, on the World Championship winning team. The Rokkr stint was individually better. But he's been the big question mark, really, right? Nobody has any doubts on Scrap and HyDra. Not many people have doubts on aBeZy. I think that there are questions from NJ on his playstyle with FaZe over the last couple of years. So I think there are some things to work out from like an objective perspective with that Thieves team. But Kenny has been the major question mark for people, right? The idea that he got the spot that he did after the season that he had has turned some heads for sure. And yeah, it's only one highlight, but maybe this is going to be Kenny's year. The other couple of talking points, though, were coming out of Scrap because there have been big questions on the current meta over the last few days, what the ARs look like compared to the SMGs. The M15, as we can see pretty much on all these clips, is right now the dominant force. The ARs are using it, the SMG players are using it, with or without a sight, it doesn't really seem to matter. I think the Gentlemates guys weren't very happy. We saw those clips from Dashy yesterday on ReeaL when he was slamming the Gentlemates guys and they were like, oh, you're using a red dot with gunfire. That shouldn't be, you know, that's cheese, it shouldn't be allowed or whatever. You should have to use the regular sight. And look, I don't really care either way. Do we think the red dot is the one making the difference? Also, probably not. But maybe it is a world where we end up using the iron sights. But the thing is, some of the iron sights on the ARs are pretty nice. I mean, back in the day, we used to have some shocking irons. Nowadays, it doesn't really seem to be too much of an issue regardless. So there's lots of talk about the weapon balancing and what needs to change, because the M15 is taking over the meta right now. Very strong weapon. But if it was banned, I think there's probably equally other strong ARs that would be thrown into the mix as well. So it's a question for the Gentleman's Agreement Committee, as it were. But of course, there isn't really a Gentleman's Agreement Committee. There is a group chat full of pro players, and they have a representative from each team, and they decide what goes on. And apparently, the snipers are basically already gone. So this was a big controversy coming into this game. Would the snipers be allowed this year? Would the pros decide that they were going to stay or that they were going to go? And look, yeah, the sniper is strong. It's got a bit of aim assist. People don't like that. But also you can fly around a corner in this game. I think that's the thing that's frustrating about this to me, especially back in Cold War. On some level, I actually get it. Now, I still wouldn't have done it, but in Cold War, the snipers were very strong, they had good aim assist, they were very easy to use, and there wasn't that much you could do against them because the smokes got banned because they were, one-wayable and they weren't really great proper smokes, and they were a little bit all over the place. Now, look, in Cold War, if the snipers were allowed, would you see 2 per team, 3 per team, would they be dominating the meta? No. I think you would definitely have seen some snipers in that game if the pros hadn't banned them. It wouldn't have been so overreaching. But in this game, even if the snipers are pretty strong, if I know there's a sniper there, I can wall bounce around the corner, right? Like, it's really not the end of the world. So I think it's frustrating to see this discussion. Zoom is frustrated about it. Is there a way that we can shut this down, or the community can fight back in some regard? Because the CDL successfully took the power away from the pros last year when it comes to choosing maps. But when it comes to banning snipers, what can the CDL do? How do you force pro players to use a certain weapon that they could easily say, well, it's just not viable in this game? And it's not collusion. It's definitely not collusion, guys. I remember when the CDL first came around, there was a rule book they came out with which specifically had a clause. There was an anti-collusion clause. And there was an argument at the time that they could use that clause to effectively say that, look, if you're going to collude when it comes to GAs, especially when you do so publicly, then we are going to have some sort of repercussions for that. But that rulebook either changed or has disappeared or didn't want to be enforced or whatever. So that's kind of where we are. But a couple of clips to share.
I need the back, Nice. Yo, listen. Watch my position, okay? I have full front, okay? Watch my lips, MC, okay?
One more time, go in front. Nothing.
Yeah, head back.
We're good, boys. All front.
Oh! Don't.
Front of BZ, one shot.
All good, that's on me.
Ernie, one shot top mid.
There's an extra back left, no?
Yeah, back left.
Yeah, left side, outside the map.
Very good.
Okay, I'm challenge guy.
And then one's gonna be their mid.
Left, empty dead. Iron mid.
I'm with your right. I need your right.
I spawned left.
Left. One side in. I'm on his B. It's right. Oh shit.
Deep right? Fuck yeah, now.
Alright, base. AD one shot.
Front of me dead.
AD one shot. Iron mid. Dead. Oh, what the fuck? I'm in.
Deep right. They're trolling.
Oh my god.
What the?
Oh my god.
I'm in.
This up.
There is a point. There is a point. Nah, 100%, Brandon. There definitely is a point. Bro, there definitely is a point where these kids are just like gonna start over-tweaking because they're getting told 1,400 things per scrim. Bro, if I'm Tommy over there, I'm like, yo, game just came out. Let's try to get the comms up, try to talk to each other like we're having a conversation, and let's see what goes on.
It's like, bro, we just
I mean, like,
mistakes. Like, we're not winning this map. We're not winning this.
Bro, I don't think you were winning the map if you made no mistakes, Tommy.
Mistakes that we make, the better we will
my
be.
streaks and shit. Oh, dude, like.
Okay. Cheers, Tommy. Cheers.
Consistent will be.
Cheers. Cheers, Tommy. Less mistakes we make, the better we'll be. Yep.
And you 100-point club them.
Tommy's fucking comedy, bro.
You beat them one day.
Tommy's fucking comedy.
I was just showing me fucking scoreboards and you guys shit on them.
Wait, what happened? I wasn't paying attention. Did he say something?
GA. The sniper's GA, bro.
Already? They haven't even tried it.
They said it's too OP. You can just watch every cross.
Bro, the pros,
For free.
first of all, half of the pro teams
you're getting
suck.
them good right now.
All right, let's start right there. Teams fucking 5th to 12th are fucking terrible. Me, Formal, Nikki D, and Asim can beat them. Okay? Second off, yeah, it's true. No, it's true, Clay. It's true. They suck. They suck.
Like 5 years ago. Definitely beat him.
Come on, Nick. Come on, we pop a couple beans. We're there.
Okay? Oh, we're there.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. A couple years.
Come on. You know what I mean? We're not doing this. We're not doing this. My tournament we're running.
Technically, the M8 I don't think has been GA either, but as a marksman rifle, it doesn't seem like it's going to be here. It doesn't seem like it's going to be allowed. And again, we've got tons of clips still using all these various weapons. The pistol is also rather good as well. There has already been talk about what attachments should be there on the pistol, what should be allowed, what shouldn't be allowed. Here was Mercules, unfortunately, been falling off the map on raid, so maybe there's one game, one map that he might not be so good at back in Black Ops 2, but not so convinced about that. This was also pretty funny. Mercules and Huke had a little 1v1 here on Den and came absolutely down to the wire. Mercules got this kill, so there was one final gunfight for Huke to try and break in and get the dub against Mercules, and even though Mercules is hitting the pre-aim, Huke slides around the corner, guns him, wins the game and says breakers break. So all rather entertaining stuff towards the end of that. This, by the way, is Scrappy's M15 class. So we saw yesterday he was getting a bit annoyed because people kept asking him what it was. and then he didn't want to, well, he was telling them, but then people kept asking him, so he got frustrated about it. This is what he's been working with. So, yeah, feel free to check that out or play around with it. Or if you want, continue to ask Scrap in his chat what his M15 class is, because I'm pretty sure he's been getting spammed with that over the last couple of days. Just the final thing to note, there's a tournament coming up this evening. Zinni's running it. It goes as follows. This is the Switcheroo tournament. And, well, these are some of the teams. Now, I'm not exactly sure exactly what happened here, because obviously I was asleep when they were trying to spin the wheel. I don't know if his wheel spinner just didn't work or something, so I'm not 100% sure what the teams are. What I do know is that these are the duos that will be coming to play in the tournament. So we've seen this before. Pretty much you put together an AR and an SMG. Not always necessarily, but pretty much that is how it is across these teams. These are the respective duos. So OpTic, it's Dashy and Shotzzy is one of the duos, and Huke and Merc is the other, which is pretty interesting. It could have been Shotzzy and Merc, but they're doing it a different way. These are the other duos from the other team. So these will be paired together into 4-man teams. They'll then play a $10,000 tournament coming up tonight. So excited for that, but as I say, I'm not 100% sure what teams got formed, because I think Zinni was trying to make this spin the wheel thing work and it wasn't really going to plan. So very much enjoyed your thoughts on all this stuff in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.